Alrighty guys, about to get started here just in a minute. You know, per usual, just have to check all the audio levels, make sure we're doing everything right. Always. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. We got some good material to cover this week. About to go over our agenda. Make sure everything is going good. Awesome. Everything seems to be looking good. Levels are good. Alrighty. Sorry, it is a bit loud on the street today. Lots of supercars racing today. Awesome. Cool. Alrighty, guys. Well, if you're new here, my name is Trent Manager. Welcome back to MTV TA. If you are a returning patron, of course, welcome back. Warm welcomes. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here and absorb this information. Today we got another jam-packed day. Got a lot of good news that's been going on in the space. Per usual, we're always getting good news around here, even though there always is some sort of FUD and bad news, but you know the good news always outweighs the bad, and you know we're really catching steam here, just moving forward week by week. It's incredible. If we just go back a couple weeks ago, what we were talking about then versus now, and how quickly things have really picked up and adopted. So going through our agenda today, guys, we're gonna be that is Tuesday actually. Good on to Thursday. We're gonna be covering more institutional adoption. Me Too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm saying that wrong. But Me Too, buying more Bitcoin and Ethereum during these smaller consolidation phases. They actually did end up picking, $28.4 million worth of Ethereum, and I believe, $21.6 million worth of Bitcoin, so close to $55 million, give or take, probably minus the fees or whatever. But that is a good amount of money, so we are seeing more institutional adoption on that realm, which is always truly amazing to see. That's exactly what we need, just some more support. You can never have too much support in this market, especially from big players. We're going to also go over the bull support for Ethereum around 1,750. We're going to hop into the charts today. I posted in the Patreon. We'll go over at the end after I'm done with the intro, and we will definitely go over that a little bit further. But we're gonna hop into the charts a little bit today, also, guys, and kind of go over what's going on with Ethereum, and my thoughts, kind of just where I think Ethereum's gonna be going, and just some small technicals and mathematical ways of how things are. I think how things are gonna go. Of course, technical analysis is just a educational prediction. It is not me telling the future. That's exactly why it's very useful, is because we've talked about it before. You can turn 50-50s into 80-40s, or I'm sorry, not 80-40s, 60-40s, or you can really bend your odds in your favor, understanding technicals. So, and also we got some NBA and NHL, and also NFL NFT coverage as well. I have an article up here about the hockey league and their communications with the blockchain, and how they're going to be doing possibly trading cards just like the NFL has done, and also the NBA as well, which is absolutely amazing. We would have never thought that this would have picked up steam this quickly, and that NFTs were going to be around this long. Look, I said we've covered every single time we're on here, and the reason we do is because it just can't be ignored. It's just coming to a point where it's like you can't ignore the internet. It's everywhere. It's starting to become to that point where it's like, how can I go about my day without talking about this and its benefits? So also talking further down the road, we've got history repeating itself. Got an article on that. Just some more technicals about the bull market, about how it's going. Just history from our last previous bull markets. I know a lot of you guys weren't in a lot of those. I was barely in 2017, but I did kind of see the technicals, and I wasn't knee deep, just like a lot of other people, but I was somewhat still around, so my feet were still in the water. So I'm blessed for that, to be able to kind of have a view, a perspective of the difference between now and 2017, which is super duper nice. I was pretty young back then, so but I'm a little bit more experienced now. Also gonna go over a quick intro clip of Cramer and his investment approach with stimulus. We're gonna go over a short video of that, of how he's thinking of where the stimulus is going. We covered on Tuesday also, guys, of where the stimulus is gonna be depositing and kind of where it's going to be spread out to. It was a survey that we covered, I think, on Tuesday. It was where stimulus is about over, I think, 3 to 6 people that we're talking about stimuluses. We're going to be putting that in the stock market or in the crypto markets. That was very popular hearing, and still is relevant right now. And also, lastly, we're going to be going over Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley is an investment firm, institutional firm, catering to high net worth individuals, catering 401ks and very high net worth properties and other assets. So I think right now they are catering close to, let's take a look. I believe they are close to $2 trillion, if I'm right. Let's see. Morgan Stanley advises around around $2 trillion worth of assets as their institutional firm, which is insane. So all that literally means, guys, that when you reach a certain net worth, high net worth individuals such as millionaires, multimillionaires, whatever the threshold is for that institutional investment, or whatever side platform you're on, there are usually limits, and for high net worth individuals, you're able to just give, such as $100,000, $200,000 to someone that you trust, within that firm, and say, hey, I need this doubled or tripled, or I need this expanded. You need to find assets and hedges against this, dollar for me to continue to make money. So that's usually, what Morgan Stanley and other institutional, investors do. That, given the name hedge fund, hedge against what is coming. So I believe we've covered that before, but just to give kind of a more in depth of what's going on in that section. So alrighty, guys. So we are gonna not waste any more time. I'm gonna just get a drink of water here, real quick. Before we dive in, I'm also real quick, guys. I'm also very upset. This webcam works perfect on my laptop, but not on my desktop. So I'm guessing I just got so much stuff plugged in, maybe to my desktop, that it's probably not giving an accurate feed. I'm using my cam link or my DSLR like usual, but it's crazy that I just thought I wanted to say that, and I thought it was funny because I've gone through 4 webcams in the past 4 weeks, so a new webcam every week. So I thought that was pretty funny. So hopping in this article real quick, won't cover it too long, but just definitely want to jump into some key details with Mewtwo buying more Bitcoin and Ether, bringing the total holdings to $90 million. This is a good sign. This is absolutely a good sign. We're seeing, doesn't matter where in the world these institutions are coming from, they're trusting the process of, zoomed out a little bit too far. They're trusting the process of cryptocurrency. We've had consolidation now for for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. We've been bouncing around some certain levels, and we'll hop in the charts here shortly to show those levels. But this adoption, I don't know why I did white. The key points that we're going to be listing here is the company said Wednesday it has, and through supplementary Miracle Visions, bought another $16,000 or another 16K ETH valued around $28.4 million, and 386 Bitcoin valued around $21.6 million. All told, the company has now 50.4 million in Ether and 39.5 million in Bitcoin, bringing a combined crypto holding to the equivalent a little over $90 million. Mewtwo has said the crypto assets have been bought for cash on the open market, and transactions completed Wednesday. The Bitcoin and Ether are held in secure custody, but with renowned cryptocurrency trading platforms, the firm has said, and also the purchases were made under the terms of board-approved investment that also allowed the company to invest up to $100 million in cryptocurrency assets. So basically just gave a breakdown. The companies with their balance sheets have to come out and say, what they're buying, when they're buying it, and how they're buying it. With the boards, if you're on a board of, a higher company and you have a say-so, it's got to be passed to the board, and, you got to make sure your balances are all in order for this to be helping you. Institutions coming to this route, coming here to have a hedge against what's coming, and, be able to spread their assets and spread their fiat money out and be able to get, phenomenal returns. We talked about it last week on Tuesday, and on last week, you would have put your $1,400 stimulus check on the first round that you got it into Bitcoin, you would have now 400% your ROI. So you would have basically 4x your money. So turn $1,400 up to now near, probably more now. It was about $4,500 or $4,700. I'm sorry, not 4,000. It was $1,400 to $7,000, about $100. Now it's probably a little bit more now that we've increased price in BTC. But just showing the magnitude, and that's in less than 1 year. So that was a couple weeks ago. So you would have just done that in about less than a year. So that is more than impressive. So this company, Mewtwo, great decisions, really utilizing their balance sheets very well. And I can honestly believe they're going to be very, very happy they did in the future with these choices, 100%. So big congrats. I wanted to share this article just for the water's fine. So absolutely, they're showing them overseas, that it's okay to step in this water. Awesome. So moving on to the next article. Always just checking time, make sure we're doing good. I'm not spending too much time on each article. Let's see, where is the? Okay, perfect. Alrighty. So going back to Ethereum's Bulls Insight by their 1,750 support line. Despite the lack of ETH liquidations. So honestly, what this means, I know I'm going to explain this real quick. So what they mean by the lack of Ethereum liquidation. So people do long and short these assets. So what that means is you predict by a certain date that this is going to be this price. And if that price target does hit that target price that you intended and it continues to thrive, you begin to make more money. And there's such thing as leverage where you can take, $2,000 or $1,000, put 2x on that or 4x on that. Very risky. Don't recommend it at all. I don't even do this, but there are people who do this to maximize profit, and will put X's, we'll put leverage on their trades so they can make more money than they technically actually do have. But it's basically, it's a very educated, risky gamble. That's what I like to put it. So I'm not a leverage trade. I don't leverage trade at all, but that is kind of what they mean by lack of lethal liquidations. That means people were pretty right in the way that they were gauging their trades and how they were setting them up and getting those executed. So they were setting levels, appropriate levels that were being met. So therefore not causing Ethereum liquidations. So moving down the chart, this is a long one. We're not going to go through all of their charts, but I just wanted to scroll down and kind of just cover, kind of what was going on. So actually, if we hop in here, I'm going to move the Ethereum chart just actually over just real quick. Just kind of just give a brief overview. So I put this on the Patron yesterday. If you go back to Patron in the front, we covered the MACD indicator, and we're going to start getting into technicals this week, and we're going to kind of do a slow kind of tiptoe in there kind of with it. So we're going to start with the MACD. I don't use a lot of indicators. I listed, I believe, in this breakdown, the indicators that are, that are the most important. We have the moving averages, the relative strength index, the ROI, the RSI, the on balance OBV, and the bottom line. We haven't covered any of these yet. We've just covered the moving averages. And going back to the chart here, the moving, it's not even on here right now, but going into the Ethereum technicals, kind of understanding, what we're literally looking at here. So kind of just a simpler term. I try to make it as simple as possible. I know this looks crazy, but it's not going to be one after I'm done explaining it. So going into our first rally here, I don't remember in January, this is when we made our first run. Ethereum was just broke its all-time high, $1,200. We were, reaching euphoria levels out of this ascending triangle at 1,350. We broke down, and that was about a 31% correction. Ethereum broke down to about $900. And as you can tell, shortly after, we recovered as well. Kept going. We recovered, back up to around $1,500. You can see that was about another 18% increase. Here, let me zoom in even more for you guys so you can even see that. And then we continue to break down again. So as you can see, we're getting these patterns. I've labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you can tell, ever since, December, we had been in this ascending triangle. This is on the 4-hour. So this is by 4-hour increments. Not just by, and if you weren't on the day chart, then you could see each candlestick would be 1 day. So just a quick little light intro. As you can see, we're seeing trends here. So if we go, oops, I'm sorry, actually, let me put that back. Whoopsies. If we actually go back up to the top here, you can see where we are now at the current price of $1,226. And if we go back to the article, what they were saying is that we were holding that support of $1,750. So that $1,750 support was, let me get this drawing line, would be this section that we've had here. And as we've improved moving forward, that bottom trend line right here, this yellow line, we have had some slight dips below it, some slight little tests right here. But as you can tell, that's the whole point of support. So we have those levels of support leading up as we keep going. It's okay if we dip below those levels, but we don't want to dip too low. But as we continued, we now have seen that, hey, this is a very strong floor that we're going to need to really, really liquidate to get through. We've tested this a matter of 1, 2, I guess I count this 3. Let's see what else. 4, I forgot at the beginning back here around February. Let's see what else we tested. We've gotten onto that channel 4 times, and that's not uncommon, but that's very few times for the amount of time span we've been in this. And if we pull up the data chart range of how long we have been in this ascending triangle, just give me 1 sec. Let me get this chart all flayed out. So if I go from the top of kind of just where we really entered it, and we knew we were gonna not really be out of it, and as of right now, we have been in this ascending triangle for about 76 days. That we have been on an upward trend. So very comfortable chart integration here. Kind of just wanted to go over that just real quick. Nothing too, oh my gosh, I think you guys are more than smart enough to understand this, and that's why I'm gonna take my time with integrating the MACD and all these indicators, because it's not anything complicated that anyone can't understand, because it's nothing. I believe all of you guys are capable of this. So just giving my predictions, as you can tell from here, from our current price, all we need is a 35% increase to be at 2,500, and even just to break 2K, guys, we're only 9% away. So giving what could happen, I drew some lines here kind of just to indicate we could parabolic move up. It all depends on Bitcoin, which is very, very, and it all depends on kind of how BTC is feeling. If BTC wants to go parabolic, it's probably gonna pull up Ethereum with it, just like it always usually does. Ethereum is making its own, separate path, but it still is influenced heavily by Bitcoin. We could go straight up parabolic and move that way. We could, kind of juggle around here like we have and continue to, move steadily up. We could go middle route and kind of just show an O and then O and then O, and there are endless possibilities here, but I just like to give the kind of just the view for you to see that possibilities are happening and kind of just show that the trend is your friend. So I'm going to scratch that. I wanted to save that till last, but I thought it was appropriate that we kind of went over it now, and we could kind of just move over from that section. I don't think there's anything too crazy I wanted to cover in here. They were doing just the options of their, their skew charts and everything else. Nothing, I didn't think anything too crazy at the time. They basically kind of just explained the same thing that I was doing, that I kind of just explained to you guys. So moving on to the next one, no worries on that. I'm also going to have we're going to be going over more indicators. I think next up is we're going to go over the RSI just next, and I'll probably have a separate just clip, not in the live stream, covering this once again, or if anything else that needs to be covered again. But I think you guys all kind of understood the writing very well. So big kudos to you guys, and you guys are working really hard. So super duper proud of you guys for sticking with it and continuing to work hard every week at this, because it could definitely change your life if you let it. So going into crypto.com, their signups for their partnerships deals with NHL's Montreal Canadiens. So going through here, just going over the points before I play the clip. These out here. Financial terms of deal between Hong Kong Base Exchange and the 24-hour time Stanley Cup winning Canadians were not disclosed, so there aren't too many details out just yet. But the Crypto.com's branding will be displayed at the center ice starting within the next home game against the Vancouver Canucks on Friday night. So that's phenomenal. We are now seeing crypto. I know we've seen crypto sponsorships before, but nothing as big as having it in a sports. Like, you guys see Bumble and like Tinder like on the side of like NBA like games and stuff, and like other like see what else, like any advertising for any major sport or institution. But like I don't think we've ever seen like a cryptocurrency like exchange okay, I've seen like advertisements, yeah, but it's like I don't think we've ever seen like a hard sponsorship like that, like like having it in the logo, or like that is so like everyone sees that. Like you're watching the game, you can't even like you can't even not see that if you wanted to, like it's like going outside and like not like looking at the sky, like you're gonna see that the sky is blue. So that's phenomenal for the act of integration and publicity and just getting the name out there even further. Because even if it seems that like everyone knows about this, guys, like everyone knows about crypto, like BTC is so high, like $60,000, like oh my gosh, like still 2 in every like 10 Americans, I think less than that, like 2 in 12 Americans own cryptocurrency. Like we are the United States on the scale of like ranking of blockchain technology and understanding and like actual integration as a country. Like we're like 15th or something. Like we are getting whooped by so many other countries in the way about how we're dealing with our cryptocurrency regulations and like really integration in our own country. So I mean, I know the USA doesn't like to be last in anything. That's just kind of the way we are, land of the free, home of the brave. But if we want to kind of keep up to date with these other countries, we're kind of going to need to pick it up in the sense of having regulations and acceptance a little bit quicker. We're going to get there. That's not the problem. But just to show you that not everyone knows about this, even though it does seem that everyone does. Just kind of keep that in mind in the back of your head also. And also, we know Canada is a huge cryptocurrency country. They love cryptocurrency. They already have 4 Ethereum ETFs already, and they're working on their second Bitcoin ETF. So, we should take some notes from our neighbors, Canada, and definitely pick up the speed, because they are loving it more than we are. So I'm gonna play this clip for you guys real quick, and then we will catch up right after this. Let's get started.
Is that Crypto.com, which is a Hong Kong-based crypto exchange, has signed a deal with the NHL's Montreal Canadiens to emblazon their Crypto.com logo on the ice of the Bell Centre in Montreal. This is what I like to call to the trend story. Just last week, we had another crypto exchange, FTX, reported to be in talks with the Miami Heat for the naming rights of that arena, which is currently the American Airlines Arena. And I think what this represents to me is the mainstream aspirations of a number of crypto brands, right? They want to get in front of, Joe Sixpack, or whatever they call it in French. I don't speak it, but for the Québécois, whatever Joe Sixpack is up there, they want to get their branding in front of as many people as possible. And I think if sports is becoming sort of this like mainstream gateway I think we're starting to see it with some of these deals. So, I don't know. Who am I going to kick to? I'm going to kick it to the resident Canadian, Jen. What do you think about this? Another Canadian on staff, Christy Harkin, tells me that Crypto.com has been pretty aggressively marketing up in the Canadian market. What do you think about a development such as this? Do you think this, ultimately gets more feet in the door for a brand like Crypto.com?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's just going to be so cool to see Crypto.com on the ice. And for me, it signals almost like a shift change in the types of advertisements we're going to see. Crypto's really becoming more mainstream. I think a lot of Joe Six Packs out there are interested in getting into crypto, but maybe don't know where to start. So I think we are going to see a lot more people, starting to educate themselves and get involved. So it's just super interesting to me to see. Like, I wonder who the next big brand is going to be to partner with a sports team, and I really feel like it's going to be eToro. They have so much interesting advertising. I don't know what the rest of the panel thinks.
It's such a merging of different worlds, right? Sorry, go ahead, Will.
No, I was just snarky comment. Keep going. Just whispering in your microphone down there.
Didn't want to go through the whole clip, guys. Kind of just wanted the first 2 minutes to, just show, kind of where the headspace was at for a lot of these higher institutional, sports investors and, people around that area who work with sports frequently and are looking for partnerships. And, not only that, but got to remember that stadiums and other sports teams have balance sheets as well, that they need to put their money elsewhere to, fund their expenses and all the things that they need to do in their business. So the balance sheets are active for anyone and everyone has a budget, and everyone always is looking for a hedge to make sure that they are protected in some way. So this is a huge plus, like usual. You guys heard about eToro. Crypto.com is looking to literally expand possibly to Miami Heat as well. They're looking for multiple partnerships, and they're marketing aggressively up in Canada, as I think Jim just said in that video as well. So huge pluses in the area. Like, it's not a matter of if, guys, it's just a matter of when. Time is definitely on your side, especially some of you younger guys and people who are around my age, even just a little bit older. I know I got a little bit older people in my class. Like, time is so much on your side. You guys are so early in this space, and like I said, it seems so ridiculous that people think that they're so late, and looking at the history and just all the technicals, you guys are more than early. So just wanted to hop over that. No stress on that end. I'll put that up in the Patreon if you guys want to watch that fully. It wasn't anything too crazy. I watched it already, but they were just kind of just going in depth about not even in depth, just kind of just a light review of the possible, because a lot of these details aren't out yet. So a lot of possible adoption of teams and sports teams and how things are going to be working with sponsorships and everything. So that excites me just for more money inflow. Also moving into a little bit of history on the repeating of the numbers of the Bitcoin bull run. So a lot of you guys obviously were not here for the last one, and that is completely okay. This of course is another long one. We will not go through all this. I'll probably just go through the key quotes, and I will definitely elaborate the best I can about what is to come, because this is a completely different section, or this is completely different than what we were in a couple years ago, just because it was mainly retail driven, and we can cover a little bit more details as we keep going. So same but different. So we're going to cover this first quote right here. Firstly, various DeFi products are created value based on clear business model. Secondly, we're seeing record active investments by institutional investors. And finally, various on-ramps of off-ramps, including not only PayPal and Visa, but also large banks are now emerging. This is 100% true. We did not have this back in 2017 at all. It was strictly all speculation. I cannot count out the retail investors, though, because retail investors have been carrying a huge amount of weight in this cryptocurrency run. Institutions, of course, pull their own weight because they just have more than the average person. But please don't ever count out the average retail investor, because customers do make the world go around, and without customers, institutions can't even exist and businesses can't even function. So the backbone is retail investors, and that is us. But sadly enough, we are the most shook when it comes to a downturn, or not understanding information and not being able to put technical together and be able to understand that this is the cost to performance of what we are receiving. So what I mean by that is BTC is a rapid volatility of up and down. That is the cost. That is the con that we have to performance. We are going to have sharp declines, or we're going to have, and that will possibly change as we keep moving forward and become readily adopted. And, you know, there may not be as high volatility here in the upcoming years, you know, but at the time being, this is the cost that we are paying for the performance that we're getting is the volatility. So, and I'm honestly okay with that. I have no problem, because you look back on the month, hey, I was down those past 2 days, like $4,000 or $8,000, right? But then long term, what am I still up on the 3-month chart? You know, I'm still up 12,000, or I'm still up 15,000. You know, it's all about your perspective. You know, your perspective and how you see at the time. So that's just kind of the way I like to view it. Also, you know, I'm definitely a longer term. I'm a longer term person. You know, maybe just because I'm a little bit younger, but you know, I think everyone should kind of just try to have that tunnel vision of long term. And also going into the next quote, the foundation of the institutional investment. Consists deeper pockets and larger investment horizons than the traders who fueled the 2017 run. We also talked about that. Look at that. They're literally quoting us. Add to that explosion in the access to crypto markets for non-trader participants through fintech giants PayPal and Square, amongst other, and we are seeing both widening and deepening their investor base. So another, like, they kind of say the same thing above, but not really, kind of for a number of reasons, because these companies, they've been accumulating, and of course they were working ways of delivering to their customers in an appropriate way. We're also seeing a lot easier availability for purchases, not only just with bigger projects such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, but smaller projects who are gaining traction. You know, there will be a lot of losers in this space. All of these projects will not make it to the next phase. My selections, or, you know, me personally, what I think is going to make it, you know, is all, you know, there I have a couple projects that I hold that are, of course, speculation, you know, just of thoughts. I like the development teams. I like the outcome. I like the white paper. I like everything about it, but it's just a matter of time to see, you know, how it goes. You know, Bitcoin and Ethereum are a little bit different, but there are other smaller coins who will make the cut, you know, who will definitely make the cut, who are newer in the space and who haven't got as much attention because of either market cap or, you know, maybe not a working platform just yet. But there will be some other winners as well. And and of course the availability for purchase. PayPal, they got millions and millions and millions of users already worldwide, and their integration on their PayPal platform makes it that much easier for me as a business owner, or me as an investor, to just do it that easy. Even with Cash App, when they added their Bitcoin section, you already receive Cash App in your wallet, in your crypto, or in your Cash App wallet, and now you can literally just take that money from your Cash App wallet and just put that right into BTC. Like, it's just that easy. People like things like that. You know, majority of people aren't going to go out of their way to learn something that they don't understand and also they don't care about. Those two right there are the number one keys, just in my eyes. Just from majority of people are not going to want to go out of their way to learn something that doesn't make sense to them. So that's why, you know, a simple UI and a simple interface and, you know, simplicity is really, really important when it comes to just the average retail investor. So covering those two quotes, awesome. We're going to kind of keep going down just the metric points of the kind cycle. They go over some kind of more deep analysis of, you know, how it's been in the past and everything else, and it just kind of pulling up old metrics, nothing too crazy on that end, and also covering our last quote. Let me think what we had left. We got Morgan Stanley next. Okay, just making sure we're still staying on track and we're still doing good on time. So awesome, guys. Cool. I hope you guys' this week is going good. It's been good. It's felt like a weird week this week for some reason. Maybe because I was on vacation or something, but no worries on that end. Why's my hey pencil? What are you doing? Okay, whatever. All right, no worries. And also going over the macro outlook of remaining bullish still. I didn't mean to say that. And also covering this quote. Lastly, the demographic of crypto investors has changed versus previous years, with more institutional participation, leading to greater capital inflows. Hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, are being exchanged in a single purchase, and then this increases liquidity will lead to more stable prices. So just like I said with the institutional investors, that back end. Just kind of like I said about the retail investors, we are the backbone, the strongest as collectively as a group, but we are also the weakest when it comes to long-term holding and, of course, equity and just liquidity. So where the institutional players come into hand, and how I really put it in a visual term, is you got the building structures, you know, you got the steel pipes, you got the holdings of the house, you got all the main components that are going to keep the house together, in a way of not tipping over, natural disasters, all that. I'm comparing, natural disasters to like dips in the market. And, and then you have us, the retail investors, who are, laying down the tile and doing all the nice interior on the inside and, making the house, somewhat, pretty, and definitely aesthetic. And I definitely compare that to the backbone of how the institutions are funneling in, their millions and billions of dollars. They're decreasing the volatility. You have bigger players that are throwing millions and millions on the balance sheet. Wouldn't you think that if it was that risky or if it was that, deterring to them to not come in, that they would put that much money in? You would like to see people, inch in, right? But, not with institutions. Inching in for institutions is, hey, I'm going to throw $5 million here and see how it goes. Or I'm going to do 10 mil. Or shoot, I'm going to throw 25. I got 25 signed on the balance sheet, depending what type of company you are, if you're tech or car or whatever. You got millions and millions to play with. And, these guys aren't afraid to lose a couple million, or their worst bet sometimes is, hey, I lose this $5 million. Oh well, but the upside is unlimited. So it's definitely all a way of thought, and that's just the way. That's the way I just like to view it, because you have to think like that in this market, because it'll drive you crazy if you think too day to day or you don't think long term. It'll drive you nuts, and it'll make you not have a good experience in this market at all. And also, moving on to last article, guys. I believe it's our last article before we get into the Jim Cramer YouTube video. We're gonna play part of that. We'll probably play 4 minutes of that, and then we are gonna clock out here a bit early. I'm doing these little shorter live streams, guys, about 30 to like 45 minutes. I thought the hour was just too long, and I kind of like utilizing your guys' time the best I can. So definitely new 35 to like 45 minute rule will definitely be just kind of the idea for moving forward. And also, of course, I'll be posting to Patreon often, like I always do. And you guys will have videos, visual learners, and you'll have writings, of course. So appreciate you guys on that end with working with me. So Morgan Stanley's threshold being reached on the crypto as an investable asset class. So as we talked about, Morgan Stanley, they're managing $2 trillion worth of assets. They manage over 3.5 million worth of high net worth individuals. So that goes from you just being a millionaire, from either selling your company, or you being a high institutional firm, or investment section, or investment asset, whoever you are, to be a high net worth individual. So what that means for Morgan Stanley is now that they are opening their doors for integration of cryptocurrency in 401ks. Of course, with balance sheets, like we've talked about, the difference between having an institutional like Tesla or MicroStrategy or Grayscale with their integration of their Bitcoin on their balance sheet is usually because the head CEOs or the head board members are crypto friendly. So it makes it that much easier usually to work around. Sorry, I had a bug in my face. It usually makes it that much easier to work around and kind of get these things passed quickly. Like Michael Saylor, the owner of MicroStrategy, and the reason he's able to invest so much Bitcoin is because he's got a lot of say so in that in that company side. He's still got to do presentations and such, but he's kind of got the last word, kind of in a sense of how things are going to go on the balance sheet, which is fine. But Morgan Stanley is a little bit different, just because as they manage assets for other people as well. They are a hedge fund. MicroStrategy isn't exactly a hedge fund. They are, a company, that is removing their fiat money from their balance sheets, moving them into, that side of, hedging their extra cash on the side. And I'm also taking their own personal liquidity of their own company and putting that into cryptocurrency as well. Just like it would basically just be like you taking your job money that you work from Target and just buying cryptocurrency with that. So you're using your own equity to grow your own equity in that sense. So simple as that, nothing too crazy. But moving back to Morgan Stanley as to why it was taking longer for them to be kind of get their feet in the water, is because they manage other high net worth individuals. They manage companies, they manage housing assets, basically anything that has to do with massive amounts of money, or anything that has to be retain value or grow in value. That's what they manage. And of course they have a larger board, and they have a lot more people to discuss and kind of run things by before they give the push out to that to their clients, and especially their clients have to be okay with that as well, because sometimes their clients aren't going to come to them on the daily or on the weekly or even on the monthly and say, hey, I want to check in on this. It's kind of like a yearly thing, or like sometimes even longer than that. It's kind of like a once in a quarterly checkup or once in a yearly checkup type deal. So the car's got to be in order a little bit deeper for Morgan Stanley, but they are finally around to it. They finally got around to it. So let's see. the breakdown that they really had, it was kind of just boring chat. But one of the quotes they had for those qualified investors ready to gain exposure, we suggest starting with publicly traded products, preferably ones that are multi-assets and potential access and growth and opportunities through a venture capital / private equity investment in the blockchain ecosystem. So they're just basically saying for people who are new, who may not understand exactly what cryptocurrency is, they're going to tell you to do your own research first, see if you're okay with it, and then come to them when they are ready. As of what from the exposure might look like, Morgan Stanley reports outlines during its executive summary. As with many asset classes still in speculation phase, there are a multitude of risks, some predictable, some identified, and some yet be uncovered. Such risk characteristics limit Purdue advice, having exposure to small positions in a highly diversified form. They kind of just go through kind of just having no backing, and this is risky and all that jazz. They just need to let them, they give them all the negatives, kind of in a way, just to let their people know, hey, this is what's going on, because most people, like I said, are not going to want to learn. Majority of people will not understand the fundamentals of cryptocurrency ever, and, that's okay, because we don't need people to understand. We just need people's money. And that, I know that sounds bad, but, majority of people are going to want to learn something they don't care about, and that's just facts. I'm not going to go learn the piano if I have no interest in playing the piano, so that's just kind of that's the comparisons I look. I do a lot of comparisons because it's just a lot easier for me to process in my own head. So, perfect. Gonna wrap that up, guys. That was a short one. We are clocking in at 37 minutes. That was awesome. We really got through everything we needed to. That was kind of the most up-to-date news for today and yesterday. As of right now, of course, you guys will get in the Patreon if I find anything new, and we will keep it moving from there. So I wanted to play this Jim Cramer crypt just because I like Jim Cramer, and he's kind of done a 360 for me as to how he views different asset classes, and kind of his change of thought I liked. So we'll probably play about 4 minutes of this. I'll see how it goes. See how it's going about 4 minutes in. If I feel like he's giving good information, and I can post it, later in the Patreon if you guys want to watch the full one. But we will definitely, let's definitely give you guys a run through. Let's move you guys over the other monitor. Perfect. And let's give this a play. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Move this over.
Hey, I'm Cramer.
God, I think he's so funny.
Cramer, I'll be one of my friends. I'm just trying to make you some money. My job, not just to entertain you, but to educate and teach you. Has been doing for how many years? This is our 16. So call me at 1-800-713-CMC or tweet me, please gently. It's our 16 at Jim Cramer. So you're getting your stimulus check from the government, right? I mean, what do you do? What do you do with it? Before we even talk about investing, you gotta plug some holes. Gotta pay off your credit card debt. Maybe you gotta make sure you got some health insurance. I know, really boring advice, but those costs can eat you alive. Once that's covered, you should put most of what's left into a cheap index fund that mirrors the S&P 500. That's for retirement. And then finally, there's your mad money. A fitting concept given that today is indeed our 60th anniversary. And otherwise, a daily positive session. Dow only advancing 175 points. Oh, it traded all over the place, but then nicely. S&P gaining 0.65%, and then NASDAQ climbing 1.05%. Well, you're probably thinking, why doesn't Cramer say start with individual stocks? Because if you qualify for a stimulus check, you might not have enough money for cushion. I always tell you to put your first 10 grand into an index fund, because you start picking stocks or assets like cryptocurrencies. Well, you know what? I've been saying for a decade and a half, you gotta be diversified, and that's what the pulpit's about. Be diversified. But let's say you got that cushion, what's next? All right, well, your choice of investments depends on where you are in life. And to a lesser extent, your own personality, which I can't tell you about. I mean, if you're young and you got a whole lifetime of paychecks ahead of you, you can afford to take on a lot more risk, assuming you're comfortable with it. As you get older, you do need to be more cautious. It's just what life's about. In the old days, I would tell you to pick the stock of a company you knew and liked, and read the annual report, listen to the quarterly conference call, look up any relevant articles, and maybe do some buying if you like what you see. Very often, though, people would balk because the share price was too high, meaning it cost too many dollars, and because of a lot of commissions. These days, there's no longer a problem because we got fractional trading. You can buy a tenth of something like Tesla or Amazon or Alphabet, no commissions. Now, the younger you are, the more I'm begging you to take an aggressive stance on something speculative. What does that mean? Let me give you textbook examples, because we've got them all over the place. A year ago, Moderna was speculative. It was a relatively untested biotech company. Now we know they've had incredible success with their COVID vaccine. You know what? I don't believe their RNA technology extends beyond this one virus. Stocks had a huge run. You know what? I actually think you can still justify owning a piece of it up here because management has staked out a series of vaccination efforts that could lead to being multiple blockbusters. But how about if you're old? Well, then I think you gotta switch gears. I mean, I think you gotta try a stock like Johnson & Johnson. It's a company with a long track record of paying dividends, done some remarkable work with its own one-shot COVID vaccine, although not that it's necessarily a needle mover. J&J doesn't have the radical upside of something like Moderna. In fact, they're not even trying to make money on the vaccine. But the company has a tremendous history of doing right by its shareholders, managing its capital well, and developing new drugs. Oh, and by the way, and this matters for some people who are a little bit older, but not younger, it has the best balance sheet of any large company in the country. Now, you can see this kind of dichotomy at play in just about every industry. Today, we learned that a private company in the red-hot payment space, an outfit called Stripe, had a round of financing that valued the business at nearly $100 billion. I mean, enough. I know, another $100 billion, but wait a second. What does that tell you about the space that Stripe's in, the payments industry? Well, to me, it means the future's very bright. So you might be drawn to Square, SG.
Perfect. I should move this back over real quick. Kind of stop to where I kind of want to cover this headline just real quick before we get out of here. The younger you are, the more I urge you to take an aggressive stance on something speculative. Phenomenal. I like the idea. I love it that he's giving that advice for younger people. You know, you're younger. If you're younger, take a risk. Your penalties now are not nearly as severe as they're going to be when you're older, and it's okay to fail. I failed plenty of times, so many times over, and it's completely okay. So I want to end on that note that I like how they have that thumbnail there to let, you know, they urge people, you know, like, scary money doesn't make money. Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes you got to be uncomfortable. Sometimes you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, for sure. So I'm going to post this on the Patreon if anyone wants to watch the rest of this. He kind of just goes over, he doesn't go anything over crazy. It's just Visa and just slight investment advice. Nothing too crazy on that end. You know, of course, I always recommend do your own research. Never buy something that someone tells you to buy just because they bought it. That's never a good idea. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I think we did a really good job today. I think today was very, very good, per usual. You guys are awesome. So, let's see what the date is for tomorrow. Pay attention to Patreon, guys. I'll be having some posts up, of course, like usual. Probably some up today, maybe some up tomorrow. I try to give you guys the weekends off and kind of just give you guys to relax. But, you know, crypto on the weekends is usually the busiest, and that's when the crazy stuff happens on the weekend. So I'll hop back on if things get wild, but definitely want to try to give you guys your time to do your other hobbies and activities. So thank you guys for tuning in today, guys. Really appreciate it. Ping if you need anything. Shoot an email. Share this with a friend. Anything else you guys need, let me know. Awesome, guys. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. Stay safe. Bye-bye.